welcome to this unboxing video for last Friday, Some Legends Never Die. This is a game that first came into our shelves and shops in 2016. It's a game for 2 to 6 players, plays from 30 minutes to 120 minutes. Depends on your choices, that you can also play one single chapter or play all 4 chapters, but if you choose to play one single chapter, then you will most probably looking to 30 or 40 minutes of gameplay. If you play all of the game, all 4 chapters, then you'll go something closely to 2 hours. The game is for ages 14 and up. It is not a complex game at all. It is 2.3 out of 5 in terms of complexity. The game belongs in the category of deduction, hidden movement. There is fighting and horror. Of course, we're referring to the horror slasher movies that we see a lot. Also we saw a lot in the past, but it's also very common nowadays in the cinema. There is a murder mystery involved. The mechanics deal with hidden movement, of course, memory, point-to-point movement, secret unit deployment. There are various things that drive actually the edge depending on the scenario. So either the killer or the campers who are trying to survive have slightly different objectives depending on the chapter, and that's also very interesting. And there is different abilities depending on which camper each player is controlling. It's a fairly simple game in terms of complexity again, and if you're into the hidden movement and horror movie games, this is one game that I think most of us should check it out. The designer of the game is Antonio Ferrara and Sebastiano Fiorillo, if I'm pronouncing correctly, which is also the artist of the game. The art is very nice, by the way. And the game is published by Escape Studios and Ares as well. So it is easy to find on the shelf. I don't know about availability nowadays, but it is a fairly common title that you can find in most of the gaming local stores or online shops, etc. So, Last Friday is a hidden movement, hunting and deduction board game, which is inspired by the popular slasher horror movie genre. In the role of young campers, the players are trying to visit a location and have fun, but who knew that there is a killer on the run with a sole motive to kill them all and free from all human beings this area, because he is very much irritated about it. So in general, the murderer's goal is to remain hidden and to kill off each and everybody from the players, from the campers, and the campers are trying to fight back, kill the murderer before they're all killed. The game, of course, is played over 4 chapters: arrival at the camp, the chase, the massacre, and the final chapter. And each chapter plays out slightly different. As the hunter becomes the prey, then back they become the hunter from the dead, looking for revenge, and so on and so forth. So, very interesting game in terms of ideas and theme. Of course, we are all seen and love the respective movies. Friday the 13th. It's not a licensed game, but I think it pretty much resembles the events of, or at least gives the feeling of those events from those movies, and that's a plus if you're a fan of the horror movie genre. So let's see what we find inside the game. The rulebook, which I got the chance to already read it online. It is a fairly well written rulebook, which has a lot of useful information where you want to look for it, and it's easy to locate everything. I went through it carefully and I have no questions on what does what. So from the rulebook as well, it gave me the impression of a well written and structured game. So how to play, the basic principles, the movements, the campers, the breakdown of the card and the special ability of each of the campers, which is very useful, how a chapter ends, and the special tokens that play a crucial role, and the clue tokens left behind from the murderer, various tokens like listening for noise, the bear trap, the lantern, which illuminates the various spaces and have very interesting effects that should be used to the best of the advantage of the person using them. The main idea is, you can also get sneakers to have extra movements and stuff like that. The main idea is to look for keys around the lake so that you can open the different cabins, at least on the first chapter, go in and save yourselves from the maniac spree of murder. Of course, if you're the murderer, you're trying to murder as many people as possible. the corpse tokens which block movement, and they are paying for the campers. And then you have the maniac tokens which are set on the timeline. Now you'll see on the main board that there is a timeline like we're playing in a movie, and that's very fascinating as well, where he gets to use an axe to break through cabins, or shadow tokens to hide, make it more difficult for people to find him, move faster, etc. The cabin tiles, depending on who reaches them first, the other turn face up, favoring the murderer if he breaks in with an axe before the campers, or if the camper opens them with a key, then they are turned from the opposite side, providing benefits to the campers themselves. More details about chapter 1, very easy to get behind and follow the details on the chapters. Chapter 2, the purpose changes, the hunter becomes prey. Chapter 3 here, and then the final chapter 4. Of course, you can select to play, for example, chapter 2 or chapter 4 or chapter 1 independently if you want a faster game. Then the last thing that you can find here is a very useful summary with the important rules for each of the chapters, so you don't forget the main purpose of each chapter, because it's changing slightly from one to another, giving different goals and different things to chase. So what we find inside the game is this nice player screen, which is like a DM screen. It has the back view of the killer, which is also on the cover box. It's very nice art, by the way. From this side you see the cabin and the campers peacefully enjoying probably their last meal, some of them at least. Then inside you can find this goes like that, so it's located in front of, let's say, the hunter, the maniac, so he doesn't have to look on the main camp, the main table, and doesn't give away that way, in this way, his location. If he's, you know, staring intensively in one location, they're going to find out, because it's a big, beautiful board, but it's a big board, so that he will have to locate on specific sections of the board. This way he can make his strategy or her strategy behind the screen. There are the different chapters, basic functions here. What the cabins look like if they're revealed from the camper's side. And then what is also fun is you have this peek hole that you can see here, where you can you can keep looking from the back of your screen your own plans, and then picking through the hole what actually the campers are doing without being located. That's a cool idea. Here you're going to put a piece of paper, as you can see, folded like that, so that in each of the chapters, starting from chapter 0, then you're going to be putting your location, revealing your location every 3 spots, and following the course of the game. Very useful and very well done. This actually there are also, as you can see, yeah, there are some cuts so that the paper sticks and it's not moving around. That's brilliant. Well done. So this looks very nice. I really like how they implemented this one. The main board, which is I believe what I love the most in terms of components and production, it's a very thick cardboard, as you can see, excellent stock, linen finish with great colors. It gives the feel and the idea of a camp, of the setting of these horror movies. So that's something interesting and actually well welcomed. So let's open it up. It's single-sided because everything happens in the main board. It's a huge board, so that being said, this gives a very nice feel on the table because it covers a very large section. I'm quite a tall guy, and you can see that this is a 6-piece map. Let me show you what I mean. You have 3 pieces twice that make up the full map. Now the map is like on a piece of wood or on a table. It has like this feel that you can see from the art, that it's thrown on a table or on a desk, which is very nice. There are very distinctive areas. The main one is the lake, where the campers are enjoying, hopefully not for the last time, their meals in the tents, around the tents and campfires. These are the cabins around the main board, where as you can see, the campers are trying to take refuge while the maniac is trying to gain advantage, because if he breaks in with the axe he can gain hidden movement entrances from one to the other. So it's a race who does first what, and all this starts already from the first chapter. You can see various numbered spots which actually are going to be used only from the murderer, from the maniac, and the ones with dotted white dots are for the campers. So this system feels like the system from Whitechapel, and it's a successive system that I like a lot. So I think the idea of going with this one is brilliant, because it works excellent. So let's see what else we get inside the game. We have a catalog, we have some tokens that we're going to punch out shortly. This is the wooden pawn for the maniac. It starts from one of the bloody locations that they are towards the outer part of the board, so he has to come from outwards following his turn. Then we have also different color wooden pieces for the different campers. Their starting location is the yellow goes here and he's close to the yellow cabin. That doesn't say a lot, you'll see how the game plays in a separate video. The brown one starts here in the starting spot. They're all enjoying some good time before the murder spree starts around the camp. So and this guy goes here. Okay, so lots of baggies, nice plastic tray. We have some cards and some overlays for the cabins, and we also have some yellow tokens that are intended to illuminate the areas around the lantern when someone throws a lantern. And these are the tiles here, again linen finish, excellent quality. So this is a lantern. If someone throws a lantern, for example, on a spot, then all the different areas around there are going to be illuminated with these markers here. We're going to explain it later on. Now, the tiles are either clue tokens that they're left behind every time, every 3 movements where the murderer reveals himself. Remember, every 3 movements the murderer needs to reveal himself or herself. So that's a given. So depending on the different things, the different clues, the campers are chasing those clue tokens because they can use traps and lanterns and different things and sneakers to move extra spaces, but they have to reach them first to get them in order to be able to use them in the following turns. So great quality of tokens, excellent component quality. Everything is punched out smoothly from the punch board. You have eavesdrop and shovel. You need the shovel because guess what? When there's a murder, even from the owners of the camp, or if one player is murdered, then what happens is a body token is dropped, and this acts as a barrier for the players. They cannot move, so it makes things very, very difficult for them. So what they need is they need to find a shovel in order to be able to go to remove it and go around it. Otherwise they need to move around it, and it creates blocks, which taken into consideration that this is a very, very limited turns game. That means that if they lose turns going around all the time, then they'll have an issue. So the main point, at least for the first chapter, I'm not going to go into more because we're going to make a separate how to play video for this. Players are trying to gain the respective color for the cabin. So each cabin can hold, once it's opened, 2 people. It can hold either the original, you can see that this belongs, for example, to the yellow player. This belongs to the green player. So they can either hold the person that matches the color, so this cabin can hold this one, plus the one who comes in and opens the cabin or carries the key, the yellow key. So this way 2 people are safe for the first chapter, and they cannot be slaughtered because they barricade themselves thematically. That's also very nice, so everything works well. Around at the beginning of the chapter, there are going to be some welcome presents that they need to go in and try to get in order to gain different things. Among those are the keys, plus 2 bodies in some of those. So that's really hunting that begins even from the first stages. Now these circular tokens are the maniac tokens that the maniac, this is for counting the rounds that I'm going to show you, because at the very bottom of the screen. I'm going to need to move them forward. And give the upper hand in some cases to the maniac, like moving twice or having an extra turn or stuff like that, which is very, very important. And this is to track the different rounds. Each chapter can have up to 15 rounds, and we have 2 blocks of cards. One includes the different characters that they play in the game. So they all come with different abilities, so you can play. Oh, that's nice. I didn't notice that there are 3 choices for the green player, 3 for the blue, 3 for the yellow, etc. So let's see the art. This is Sam, that can be for the green player, or you can have Alice or Jack. Then you can have Max, Annie and Jason for the blue, Ned, Daphne. She reminds me of Daphne from Tales of Evil. I don't know if this is a real person, most probably. And Kelly for the yellow, and then Bill, this looks like the designer for sure, Antonio Ferrara, and Matt and Marcy. And then the brown could be either Steve, Brenda and Susan. They all look like nice people, but some of them are going to end up dead for sure, at least in some of the chapters. Because, and these are the fronts, the face-up size of each of those character cards. They have some starting abilities here. They already carry one of the tokens, and they have slots for additional tokens. So that's nice. Each player, they're going to take one of those. That's great. Okay, cool. And then we have the cabin overlays, which again, these are going to be placed on the main board only either by favoring the campers or favoring the maniac, depending on who opens them. Only if either the maniac breaks in with the axe, or the yellow person comes in, or a person carrying the yellow key, for example, comes in. So these are how they look. They are overlays for the map, and they are double dual-sided, like that. So for the green one here, I should be looking for the green overlay, in theory, and that means that if the maniac opens, if the campers open it, then I'll place it like that, favoring. Sorry, if the maniac opens it, I'll place it like that, favoring the maniac. You see, secret passage, and I can use different secret passages to move faster if I'm the maniac. Or if the campers come and open it first, they're first of all safe for the first chapter, and then if the camper moves in one of those yellow spots, then they have to reveal themselves immediately. So this is really, really nice. So these are the components of the main game. I have with me the components from the expansion, so it's a good chance that I'd like to show them to you, since it's next to me. Why not? The expansion is Return to Camp Apache, so it has this rulebook, some extra components. There are some burning tiles that make an overlay, and there is a fire that plays a crucial role in this follow-up expansion. You can increase, I think if I'm not mistaken, it increases the number of players by more. Yeah, having also different, the witch, the demon and the sheriff. You see, there they are. You have blood path markers, the hourglass, cards, flame tokens, lots of different mechanics, so even more ways to enjoy this game. So that looks like really nice as well. And here you see you continue chapter 5 and chapter 6 with more chapters and more conditions. That's great. Then you have a second overlay with again the camp, and we have as well the hourglass, different new tokens for the sheriff, the witch, and I don't remember the third one. These are custom wooden tokens as well. That's great. We have some red markers similar to the yellow ones from the original core game, which are blood path markers. That's great. And then there are lots of different tokens as well that give different maniac tokens or different flashlights, etc. They're all here and I'm just going to drop everything out here because I have already unpatched those previously. Then we have more heroes in the expansion, one for each color. That's great. I don't know if those can be played also with the core game. I don't see any reason why not. Anyway, I'll have to read the rules to make sure that that's the case. Then there are some additional boards here. Okay, you have the sheriff. That's nice. Carry. The campers. And the maniac. Oh, that's nice. It has some kind of play rate. Okay, this works also for the maniac and the demon. You see, you have two evil guys in this expansion. That's why you can play more players. And we have this as well, which actually are, I believe, one for each player, in order to place on top of them their character card. It looks kind of horrid. But that should be it, I suppose. That's a good idea. Last but not least, we have the overlays that go on specific slots of the map, and they have their dual-sided, as you can see, and they have some portions of the map which is on fire. So that should be interesting, having to move around the burning areas. That brings a lot to the game as well, so really curious about the expansion, but today we're playing the main core game. So there you have it. These are all the components for the core game. I also showed you the expansion. This is Last Friday from Antonio Ferrara, Sebastiano Fiorillo, and Escape Studios and Aris as well. So many thanks for watching.